First of all, I would just like to say that if you're not here for the purpose that this video is, you can watch, but please just don't hate, because you are gonna make it a hostile place for people that truly just need help and they want to let out what they're thinking, and when people start to hate in the comments, they feel not safe to do that. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because I made a video a long time ago talking about how I was addicted to masturbating, and that I wanted to let it out, to talk to someone and just let it out in the world that I was addicted to that and that I wanted to stop. And since then, a lot of people have contacted me asking me for help, and all of a sudden, like just very recently, there's been a lot of people contacting me about it, and it's getting so much that I wish I could speak to everyone individually and just keep talking to them and encouraging them to stop, but it's just so many people that I can't really do it. And that's the purpose of this video, because I can't individually write you a long message telling you how I did it and how you can do it yourself. So this is that video. I will start by saying that it will be tough. It will be super tough. If you are really addicted to this, it will be the hardest thing you have ever done to stop it. It took me literally years to finally get free of those chains that kept me down, and it doesn't really have to take you that long. I'm gonna give you some information that took me a long time to actually figure out, and not only figure out but actually follow through, because sometimes we know something and we just don't do it. There's definitely some things that can reduce those urges and that will really help. One of the main ones is just really knowing yourself and knowing what triggers those urges, and just understanding that you have to avoid those things, and you have to 100% avoid it, especially when you're first starting your process into getting rid of this addiction. But you also have to understand that it's not really getting rid of the addiction. Like alcoholics, if you go back into it, you will fall back into it. That's what happened to me a lot of times. I thought I was completely not addicted to it anymore, and then I just felt okay, and then I went back into it and it was worse than it had ever been before. So these triggers could be anything. It's different for everyone. I mean, if it's a sexy scene in a movie, you could either not watch that movie, or even as silly as it sounds, you can close your eyes. But it sounds silly, but when it comes to an addiction, you have to go to extreme measures, and if you're not willing to do some sacrifices to really change some things, you're not gonna be free of the addiction. So again, it could be many different things. It could be looking at a girl walk down the street, it could be playing a video game, it could be just doing something that has nothing to do with sexual things, but that just trigger that in your mind to make you wanna masturbate. That's what I said, you have to really know yourself. Another thing you can do is just keep busy, because boredom is just really one of your worst enemies here. No matter what you're doing, if you're bored, everything you do will always lead to masturbating. So find a job, get a hobby, do extracurricular activities at school or at a community center, or go with your mom, help her get shopping stuff, groceries. I don't know, just keep yourself busy at all times. Your free time, you don't really need it here, and your free time, if you have free time, just make sure that free time is spent with some people, because if you're alone, it's gonna be very hard to stop that addiction from taking over. I think that was one of my main issues, because I spend a lot of time alone and I have my own computer in my room, and it's just hard because it's just so easy to do. There's just such an easy access to go back into it. Which brings me to another point, which is relax. Don't really stress yourself, because there is a misconception that masturbation just releases stress, and masturbating to just get rid of stress is as much of a fix as drinking alcohol to fix problems. it just won't work. And when you get that little fix, that little rush, when that's gone, the stress is gonna be even bigger than before. But seriously, stress was really a huge trigger for me. Anytime I was really stressed, my mind always led to, okay, you have to masturbate now. And it just took a long time to finally get rid of that. I know it's not really always possible to avoid stress because there are stressful situations that will come, but just do your best to stay relaxed and don't worry about things that are not under your control. But if you're really, 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 really deep into this addiction and the chains just can't be broken, you might need to talk to somebody. And I wish I could be that somebody, and I offered that in my last video, but as I said, a lot of people contacted me, and I just can't be that person that is accountable to you. You just can't really expect me to contact you and keep up with you, and you need somebody that you can trust, and that somebody that actually understands that this is a problem, because there are many people that will tell you, what? Don't even worry about that. I masturbate every day. There's no problem with that. And a lot of people will tell you that, but you inside yourself, you know that you have a problem and that it's causing negative things in your life. So yeah, just find that someone that can keep you accountable and just keeps up with you, and he's worried about your situation and just wants to really help, and there is an intimate connection there. But as much as all of these things help, as much as all of that reduced the urges in me, and I really had it down into a T what I had to do, and it really reduced those urges, and I was masturbating less often, but I was never really free of it. I could never really stop it. I always went back into it, and when I went back into it, it was always worse than before. There was a point where I was masturbating like 3 times a day or maybe even more. It was just crazy. So the only thing that finally made me stop masturbating, that really made me feel free of that addiction, was God. And I know that not all of you believe in God, and trust me, if I had another solution, if I knew another way out of it, I would give it to you. But for me, there was no other solution. When I finally understood that I just didn't have it in me to stop, that I just wasn't strong enough, and that my self-control couldn't control what was controlling me. When I understood that, and I asked for help, for real help, and I let God be that control, that guiding hand that really led me out and breaking those chains to this addiction, that's when I finally stopped. I asked God for years. I tried to stop for years. I struggled for years. It was one of the worst experiences in my life to feel all that guilt, all that shame, and just feeling like I wasn't strong enough, that I was too weak. It was painful, but I asked God for help, but I didn't really take his help. And when I finally let him take control, when I finally began to read the Bible a lot and really having an intimate relationship with God, that's when I understood that I had to really be connected to him so that he could be connected to me, and that together we were strong enough. Because it's not like I gave him strength, no. All of the strength I had to break those chains came from him. He can be without me, I cannot be without him. If it wasn't for God, this video wouldn't exist. If it wasn't for God, I would be even deeper into that addiction. Who knows what would have come of my life. I would have wasted so much time, and I spend so much time now working on my future, and I know that before I wasted hours just looking at porn and masturbating. So I hope all those tips help you to reduce those urges, but if I am being completely honest, none of that really freed me of the addiction. It was only when I really connected to God that I finally stopped. But whatever people may tell you, I have gotten some nasty comments and people just hating on me and telling me to go die, when I'm only trying to help those who I know are struggling like I did, suffering in silence because people like them make it feel more shameful and not able to speak about it, because not everybody has to deal with this addiction. So just know that there are many people struggling with this in silence. You are not alone. There's males and females. You wouldn't believe how many females are also struggling with this. So just know that you're not alone, and that if you do need help, God is there if you're willing to let Him free you.